how do you think this theology, how do you hope it changes our parenting, or I guess influences our parenting and our family?
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, we've been given so much from Christ, like so much love and so much grace and so much righteousness that like I want our kids to know that. And so I think responding in ways that are gracious is like probably one of the biggest goals. Because, and my goodness, no one's perfect. Like I know I respond in anger and other things like so much, but like if we're just, thinking about it, it's like, who am I that God's loved us so much? And so like we're going to guide our children in the ways that, Scripture lays out the best we can. But like I want them to have grace, and I want them to know that they're loved, that Christ loves them now, like as baptized little children, that he... and that's not going to go away. And so if I can remind them of that their whole life, job well done for us, Kels. So I think that's the way for us right now.
Yeah, that's the prayer. Yeah. I think too is, I think for me it's like this: the guarantee of their baptism is, of course, first and foremost for them. Yeah, but it's also for us. Yeah, and I think that's. It's a big thing for me to be like, are they going to walk away? Like, do they even now? They don't want to pray. Like, what does that mean?
They know the Lord's Prayer perfectly, but like they never want to say it. Like, what's going on?
They yell at us when we're praying.
I mean, 30 years from now when they're watching this and using
they're not great at church a lot of times.
Yeah, using AI or whatever that's going to be called in the future.
But to go back to that and know that they have faith. They already have faith that has been given to them. And our prayer will continue to be that God sustains and he grows that faith in him, that trust in who Christ is, I think is immediately, even though, like you said, a lot of times I don't operate this way, but when I can remember that or I hear something that reminds me of that in church or am reading the Bible or whatever, like, it fills me with peace. It fills me with a little bit of breath that I'm not in control of their salvation. Yeah. And that their goodness, while I hope and pray that they are good and they're loving to their neighbor, and we're working on teaching them that when they fail and they're not that way, it's not a reflection on me as a parent.
Yeah, there's freedom in that.
And it's not a reflection on what Christ has given them and their relationship with God even.
Well, and I feel like, and we're talking about like influences on us and how we just feel so lucky to have some of these people like Scott Keith or Elise Fitzpatrick or Jessica, like they're all talking about like giving them grace. Like these kids need grace. And so point them to Christ. This is their job. And I feel so lucky to know that so early on. And I mean, even in our own lives, our parents have been such good examples. I think of my parents.
Examples.
One of their, that's kind of funny, but like a fishing example, they say they're bobbers and they want to be, in the highs and lows, they just want to be consistent and with us in reminding us these things. And so I aspire to that, where it's like, I want to be a bobber, and one that is just telling our boys and daughter just how loved they are. And so, I think that's, does that answer sufficiently?
Yes.
Your question?
Good job.
Cool.
Job well done.